or crossing the street at the wrong time, we're prosecuted and charged and convicted. And when an officer does unlawful things to us, nothing ever happens. You have an inspector general who works for the state, being the person who makes the decision on the same people he works with and works throughout the year with, if they're wrong or right. And I think that's corruption in itself. Even when I look back at my situation with the trial I just went through a month ago, you would think, it would have been more of something that was more broadened so the public could view what was going on, and I was limited that with whether it was phones or the media or whatever the case may be, like they was trying to hide the fact of what's really going on. You have people that's out here committing murder. You have people out here molesting and sexually assaulting adults and children, and they get little to no time. And you have me accused of threats that haven't been proven, but I'm the one out of all these officers that we're speaking on today have, I'm facing incarceration. And that's just not, it's no justice in that. I don't think nobody wins in that. Obviously what I've been doing for the last over 15 to 20 years, I can't help Stephen Berrier's family in a jail cell. I can't help my family first and foremost in a jail cell. So as I stand here fighting for everybody else, I hold something deep inside that I gotta fight for myself. And that's why I'm speaking on myself. Like I said, we're here for Stephen Berrier, and as y'all can look at the picture, a young, handsome black man that, could have been anything. And to be honest, not even in humor, he could have been Obama. I look at him right now and I see the similarities, whether it's the complexion or the little facial hair and the smooth cut, that he could have been the president one day, or someone of a high rank or stature, and Stamford police shorten his lifespan without reason. So those that's watching right now, we ask you to continue to speak, to continue to fight. And please do not be discouraged because you see me, myself, face prison time. I believe the plot on me was years in advance, not from last month. Last month, they just figured out a way, a loophole to close me in. But as those who sat in trial with me, as those who've been around my story the last year, they've been watching me for far too long. Because once again, my voice has went beyond Fairfield County. I have those in Hartford, that in Britain and Waterbury that I fought for, New London, New York, all the way down to Washington, D.C., marching with Dr. Martin Luther King's son, the third, and also Al Sharpton and other black leaders. So I ask you to continue to speak out, whether it's for someone that's being just. And also what I would love to say, that we always forget those that survive police brutality. I know it's of course more disheartening those that lost their life, but I'm a victim of police brutality. I was assaulted in 2020 by the state troopers of Connecticut, and turns out almost 3-4 years later, the charges that was brought against was dismissed. So let's not forget about those who've been beaten by the police and by the grace of God survived that ordeal. And I just want to reiterate, let's continue to speak out. Silence is violence. Let's not let them discourage us. I know it's hard. The way I carry myself, the way I go about things, yeah, I have a young son that's 19. I have a son that just turned 1. And no, I probably wouldn't ask them to do no way near similar to fight I do. I believe Allah, I believe God has given me the strength to carry on like I've carried on. But I believe we all have something in us to fight in a different way. Whether it's through social media, whether it's through media, whether it's through education, whether it's through voting, whether it's just getting yourself in some type of position or office rank to lead the way. So continue to speak out. Do not be discouraged, and let's fight. Let's fight for Stephen Barrier. Let's fight for Dyshawn Best. Let's fight for Jason Negron. Let's fight for Kuda in Norwalk, who was chased by the Norwalk Police Department and crashed his vehicle and passed away. And Jabril in New Haven, Connecticut, who was gunned down by detectives at a car wash in broad daylight when they could have put out a warrant for his arrest. Actually, he was on probation. They could have just waited for him to go to probation and arrested him then. And they gunned him down in broad daylight. As y'all see and knowing my social media account, the police is watching my social media account. They watch everything I post. And I want to reiterate to them and to whoever else, I will never stop fighting. I will never stop fighting. I will never stop fighting. I will fight for justice until I'm cold, until I'm 6 feet under. And though I absolutely do not deserve a prison sentence, I will keep my head up, I will keep my chin up, and I will continue on because I have young black sisters and brothers and people that look up to me, and it would hurt them. It would hurt them to see me fight this long and for me to bow out, to be scared. I only fear God, and I will only fear God. And that's all I have to say. Salute the general. Appreciate y'all.